which we'll talk about. Let's go a little bit like that. Okay. Little flat iron right there. And my fork right there. Okay. 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 We're good. We are back for the final. Oh man, it went by so fast, right? The final item of the show, and this is the Kansas City Steak Company 4 or 8 6-ounce flat iron steaks. If you want the 4 count, I have only 175 remaining. If you want the 8 count, 125. So what is a flat iron? Okay, so a flat iron steak, first of all, oh, by the way, this is on all delivery, so lock in this price, go for it. So what is a flat iron? So originally, the cut, it resembles like one of those flat irons that you see back in the old days. But what it really is, it's cut from the shoulder of the cattle, which is where the chuck is. Now, why is chuck so important? Because chuck on the cattle is the most heavily marbled piece of meat on the cattle. That's what we use to put into our steak burgers. It gives it the beefiness. It gives it the marbling, the juiciness, right? So it really takes a skilled butcher to go in there, okay, and take out these flat iron steaks. So not only are you eating something that is super rich in flavor that you just do not see anywhere, you see them at like fancy French bistros, but at the end of the day, this is a steak that I would say is closer to a prime rib type of taste, but it doesn't have all the fat, okay? Does that make sense? So it's got the richness and the deepness, but you don't get all that fat. So let me just show you one here. We'll see how this one turned out. But let me just show you what it looks like before I cut into it. That, again, see that? Now, people have also called this a butler steak. The butlers, they say, would steal these steaks because they knew how great they were. But look at that. Not a lot of fat, okay? And you see that thickness? So I'm going to cut into one. Let's see what we have. Okay. Oh, look at that. Okay. Not bad. Now, this guy's been sitting here for about 15, 20 minutes, and you see, look at that. It just, you don't see a lot of fat. I just cut a nice thin piece on there. Look at that. Look at that. That's so nice. And again, this is, I'd say this, if you like prime rib, you like this steak because it's rich, it's juicy, but it doesn't have a lot of fat content to it. And what we give you is our seasoning, which I don't know where my seasoning went, but that's okay. Somewhere here. We give you our seasoning, and it's no fuss, no mess. It's easy, and this is really nice center of the plate. Oh, I got my seasoning. So see that? Salt, pepper, garlic powder. We give you the packet. You put this on right before you're going to cook it. What I've said before is take it out of the package, dry it really well, coat it with some olive oil or canola or whatever, and then you want to sear this in a hot pan or on your grill, and you're going to season it. I also like to season it after it comes out because people don't realize this. When you cook a steak and you season it, 50 to 60% of that seasoning falls off the steak. So you have to kind of add it back in, and we'll do a little presentation in a second. So again, this is 4 or 8 of the 6-ounce flat iron steaks. Couple things. Number one, we rarely have these in stock, so this is something kind of special. Number two, you're not going to see these in grocery stores. Rarely will you see these in a grocery store. And the savings, are we ready for this? I had to ask my producer 3 times. If you go with the 8 ounces or the 8 count, you're going to save over $24 in a stock up and save option. So again, yeah, okay, go with the 4. They'll go pretty fast. But you know what? If you're going to jump in, just jump in and grab all 8, save $24. And again, this is a flat iron steak. This is not one of those throwaway pieces of meat. This is a steak this is in the shoulder of the cattle. But it takes a very skilled butcher to extract it, okay? Because not a lot of butchers know how to do this. So that's why I feel this is such a special cut of meat, because it's deep in flavor. And I would say it resembles that buttery richness of a prime rib without the fat. So if you could imagine having a steak that has an ultra beefiness to it, try this steak. So if you're a true, listen, if you like filet mignon, all good. But if you want something deep and rich and economical, because again, if you go with the 8 count, you're saving $24. Put these in the freezer. So here's what I like to do. I have my cutting board, nice sharp knife, and here's what I do. I slice these really good, okay? Because have you noticed like steakhouses these days, they cut the meat for you now and they present it to you on the plate? That's like the new thing. But here's what I like to do. I cut it really nice like this on my board, okay? Then what I do is where my mushrooms at. So, and again, this is to be shared with family, close friends. I do a little mushrooms like that, okay? Then I go and I like to do a little olive oil on that like that. Then I do the seasoning, because again, we want to season it again. And then maybe you go blue cheese, because I'm on a blue cheese kick today. And then you finish it off with a little bit of balsamic, okay? Now, you present that to your friends and family, they will go wild. Maybe they're going wild because you already sliced the steak for them, which is brilliant. But when you cut the steak and you slice it, you're exposing it, right? You're exposing it to all those wonderful flavors. So anything you put on top of it will kind of gel into that steak, and it'll just be a great appetizer and a punch of flavor. So again, this is the 4 or 8 6-ounce flat iron steak. You go with the 8 ounce, you're going to save over $24. What is a flat iron steak? It's cut from the shoulder, from the chuck of the cattle. It's one of the richest areas on the cattle. This eats close to a prime rib without the flat, and of course, without the fuss, right? This is easy. All you can do is take the steak, dry it really well out of the package, and I like it in a cast iron pan, 3 or 4 minutes on each side, and then you're going to let it rest. Always let that meat rest for about, I always say 10 minutes. I remember when I first was learning how to cook, someone like, let your meat rest for 10 minutes. Like, 10 minutes? It's gonna be cold, and it's gonna be dried out. Like, no, it's just the opposite. When you take it out of the pan, the internal temperature actually goes up, and those juices remain intact. So then when you slice it and eat it, all the flavor goes in your mouth and not on the plate. And by the way, this is super simple to cook because let's look at the size here. So you see how the thickness, right? So you see the thickness, it's about a 1/2 inch thick, okay? Almost resembles, almost like a filet, I guess, right? And this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna put this in a pan or on your grill for 3 or 4 minutes, and then you're done. Let it sit, and this is what you get. You get a nice piece of flat iron steak that you probably never had, or maybe you had and you couldn't find it anymore in the grocery store, and now you're seeing this on QVC and you're like, wow, I gotta jump on this. But if you don't know what it is, again, if you like prime rib, if you want the 4 count I have 150 remaining. Wow. If you want the 8 6-ounce, only 100 remaining. And by the way, if you go with the 8, you save over $24. All right, we had a great show. I had fun. I hope you had fun. When we come back, Steve Das will be back. We have an hour of Easy Rider. Thank you, everyone. I had a great time.